Guys, what is going on? My name is NoahJ456. Welcome to the Togderon Totem Easter egg tutorial. This is going to be the most quick and concise tutorial I can make, so let's go ahead and get right into the first step. So the first step is to go ahead and turn on the power switch in the spawn area. It's very, very easy to do. It's pretty much impossible to miss. You're going to make your way up to the top of the lighthouse. You will have to buy some doors, but you do have to actually speak to the hermit, and he will tell you he needs a blue rock from one of the caves nearby, and this is a very, very specific blue rock. There's a bunch of blue rocks everywhere, but this is a specific one. You're going to head down to this nice little U-shaped cave on the lighthouse approach type area of the spawn that you can see in the top left, and you're going to knife this rock off from one of the walls. It can be on pretty much any of the walls, and you're just going to knife it off, and then it'll allow you to pick it up, and you're going to take it back to the hermit and give it to him. Now, as soon as you do this, you need to start working on your challenges. This is basically something that you're going to need to be doing the entire Easter egg, or at least until you get past this step, because you have to complete 2 separate challenge totems, and each one of the challenge totems has an easy, medium, and a hard challenge. Now, the 2 that I'm showing you here, the 2 that I'm going to explain, are the easiest ones, so I really recommend doing these, and you're going to have to do 2 in every single one of your games if you want to get past on the Easter egg. So the one that I'm showing you now, the first step of it is just to stand in freezing water and kill some zombies, which is really easy. Second step is to shatter frozen zombies. You just headshot a zombie with a snowball. It freezes, and then you shoot it once with your gun to shatter the zombie. Really easy. And then once you turn that challenge back in by talking the challenge totem again, it will basically hum a song in different notes. And now you just need to go to the spawn, and then these are the 5 bells that I'm showing you right there. They're all just in the normal spawn area, and you just shoot them in the order that he hums them. Just guess and check pretty much until that number on the left says 5 out of 5, and that means you've gone through all of them. Now, you're going to be working on this while doing other steps. You're not going to just only focus on doing this. Keep watching in the tutorial, but I'm just explaining what you need to be doing while you're working on everything else, and you'll kind of see what I mean a little bit later on. So the other challenge totem that I recommend doing, I'm showing you the steps for real quick, is the one in the Call of the Dead spawn. It's right next to where you spawn in the original map. First thing you need to do, just kill zombies with snowballs. Just again, headshot some zombies. You're going to turn on the lighthouse trap for the second step, which again is really easy. You just need to kill a couple zombies with it, and then the last step is to complete SOS messages around the map by throwing snowballs into the missing holes and SOS messages to go ahead and complete the messages, and do that for 3 separate locations. The first one is just right next to the challenge totem itself. The second one is on the lighthouse. Just again, throw snowballs into those missing slots, and it will complete it. It'll go up to like 1 out of 3, 2 out of 3, and then 3 out of 3. The last one is in the artifact storage next to where the apothecary blood is, and you're gonna go ahead and just shoot the ceiling to just burst the water pipe, allow you to go through, and then you're gonna start throwing those snowballs, complete the last SOS message on the side of the ship, and come back and collect that reward. Now again, you're not going to be doing this all at once. Keep watching. We're getting on to step 2 right now, which is what you're going to need to be working on, but that is something that you need to be doing the entire time, because if you ignore it and then you get to the step where you have to have had 2 different challenges completed, you're going to be very, very mad at yourself. So work on challenges the entire time. Never not be working on the challenges. Do those 2 challenges, and let's get on to the next step. Now at this point, you need to turn on 3 power switches around the map. The first one is right when you spawn in. You probably already hit it. Very, very simple to do. Go ahead and turn that one on. The second one is at the very, very top floor of the right-hand side of the ship. If you're looking at it from the lighthouse, it's the same spot that the original Call of the Dead power was on. And then the third one is a little bit more tricky, so let's go ahead and get everything we need to get the 3rd power switch on. Now for the next step, you need 2 different zipline cranks. These are 2 different little pieces that spawn on the ship. The first one spawns on the stern, right where I'm aiming, right there next to the snow. The second spawn point is over here on the left where I actually pick it up in my game, just right here to the left of where I'm looking. Or if it's not in one of those 2 spots for you, it's on the inside. So basically just take a 180 from where I was just looking, run inside into the little kind of like enclosed area on the stern with the zombie barrier, and it will be leaning up against that. You're going to take that and you're going to install it in the spot I just showed you at the very, very top of the ship. Now, the second part, you're going to head over to the forecastle. The first spawn point is where I just pointed right there. The second one is right over here next to this little campfire and cooking cauldron over here, right on the ground where I picked it up in my game, and the third possible location is over here in that little corner. So pick it up. You're going to head over and install this one right here, right next to that big little gap in the ship, and then you're going to hold square to rotate it into place, and then you're going to head over to the hermit. And if you've successfully installed both of them, rotate it into place, he's going to give you a zip line handle. Now this zip line handle is going to allow you to go up zip lines now to the facility entrance. So by your few barriers in the facility, you're going to make your way to this big old room where all the test subjects are, and you're going to hold square to go ahead and turn on that power switch. So now you have all 3 power switches turned on. Let's get on to the next step. Now after you've turned on the 3rd power switch, you need to find 2 separate little key cards that are hiding in this facility. The first one can spawn right there in the little mailbox area in specimen storage. The second spawn location can spawn right there in specimen storage toilet, and then the third possible location is right next to these 115 infused little holder things, and it'll be sitting right there on the balcony. So that is the 3 spawn locations for the first one. It will be in one of those 3 spots every time, and then the second key card can spawn in one of these 3 locations. The first one right there on the little shower handle, whatever you want to call it. Second spawn location over there in the sink, and then the third and final spawn location is over here in the laundry machine. So pick it up in one of these 3 spots, and then you're going to head to the security entrance right here, and you're going to hold square on this little key card inserter, and it's going to insert both of your key cards, punch them in, basically activate the security clearance on them, and then you're going to need to grab them back out of this little thing, and now you have 2 hole punched security clearance cards. So you're going to head back down to where you turn on the power, insert a key card on either side of this door, and then you need to bring all of your players into this bottom area and go ahead and do a lockdown. It's going to be a pretty fast lockdown, not too difficult because you should be doing this on a pretty early round, and the zombies won't be super powerful or anything like that. But at the very end of this lockdown, you're going to actually get a Samantha box, which is going to be a very necessary step later on in the Easter egg. So make sure you're not really wasting these. They actually do have a chance to crash your game. So really just try not to use them a whole lot. Keep them in your inventory, stay ready, and just have one player hold them because only one player can have them. So just get those and you're on to the next step. So at this point in the Easter egg, all that's holding you back from progressing farther is completing those 2 separate challenge totems. So again, be working on them. But there's one more thing that we need to craft for a later step in the Easter egg that you can go ahead and start on now because you're probably still going to be working on those challenge totems. And that is going ahead and crafting the dynamite bomb. So the way you do this is these red flaming zombies will start spawning in once you get to later rounds. And you need to go ahead and get a snowball and hit a headshot on that red flaming zombies. It will turn to complete ice, and just go ahead and shoot it with the regular gun or knife it, and it will drop this part to dynamite. Now you need 3 separate parts. You can check the progress in your inventory, and once you get the 3rd part of dynamite, you can go ahead and craft it at any crafting table, and you will have a timed dynamite bomb in your inventory that you need to save. Don't use it on any of the sandbags. Don't open up any new paths right now. You need to save that for now for the next step. And now all that's left to do is complete your challenges. So finish up your challenges, complete your 2nd challenge totem. Make sure you're again working on this the entire time. And once you've completed both challenge totems, you've gone ahead, you've turned in the rock, you've turned on all 3 power switches, you've gotten the Samantha box, and you now have your dynamite, or you're still about to get your dynamite. You don't have to have it for the next step. You are ready to go on, and you are ready to get the next thing, which is the dials. So my 2 challenge totems have been completed. I have 3 power switches on, and the Hermit will actually talk to you again and give you 4 separate dials. Now with these dials, you need to head down to where the Apothicon blood is, place these dials on the little location that they kind of slot into, and then start spinning them until you hear a little ding. You could do this a legit way by finding 4 separate colored numbers hidden around the map that give you like a blue 7, a green 4, whatever. Or you could just go ahead and skip all that and just go ahead and spin it until you hear dings, and leave all 4 of them on the correct location for whenever they ding. And the Apothicon blood, if all 4 of them are spun correctly, the Apothicon blood will start speaking to you, and you need to pay attention and have subtitles on for the last line that they speak to you, because they'll basically tell you that we need 3 offerings, you're going to help us find them, and then they will give you a hint as to where your first offering has spawned. So in my game, I get one called, it's about to pop up here, Where Lungs Close. You ignore the first line of it's going to just be some Apothicon language, and then it'll say where lungs close or where something something, and I'm going to tell you where all of those locations are right now so you can find them in your game. So just before we get started, I do want to remind you to keep subtitles on because you will have to find 3 separate bones, and I'm going to show you all the locations in the general areas they can be, but keep in mind right when you find your bone and you pick it up, it's going to give you the name of your next location. So be ready, keep subtitles on it, and pay attention when you finally pick up the bone because you are going to have to move on to the next area. But the first one here is called Where Mountains Throw. So if you get Where Mountains Throw, you're gonna have to come out here on this balcony. You will have to use a dynamite to get out here, so you will have to build 2 separate dynamites in your game in order to do it. But the first place will be somewhere along this balcony, somewhere in this area. It can spawn in a lot of different places, but it will 100% be in that area. Next up is Where Lightning Aims, which is just referring to this Wonder Waft. It will be somewhere in this room, probably underneath it or close to it, but again, it has a random spawn point. The next one up is Where Earth Crumbles. It will be somewhere in this geological processing room, probably probably front and center, but again, you might have to look for it a little bit, but it will 100% be there. If your quote that you got was where power ends, it will probably be next to this power switch somewhere over here, but it will 100% again be in this room. Next one up is where filth cleanses, and that is in the decontamination room over here. Again, it'll be somewhere in this room. You'll just have to find it and pick it up. And then last but not least, if you get the quote where madness ends, you will search somewhere in here. Probably in the jail cells, there will be a big piece of meat, a bone, a something that you pick up, but go ahead and pick that up, and those are the locations that spawn up top. Next up, if you get the quote where helixes peak, it will be right here on top of this or somewhere on the top floor of the lighthouse. And if you get a quote called where one mysteries, that is in the very, very bottom floor of the lighthouse. That is right down here. Probably next to the mystery box. It will be a tongue that spawns here. This is one of the ones that I actually got, but it will be 100% on the bottom floor of the lighthouse for where one mysteries. If your quote that you get is where lines birth, it will be over here in the snow, just a little bone sticking out of the snow. If you get one called where feet slips, that is actually referring to the ice kind of slide over here. So if you just take the slide from the lighthouse, you slide down and just hold square, it should be along the left side somewhere over here, and you should be able to pick it up and you'll get your next quote. Or if you get the one where lungs close, that is over here underneath in this water. It should be down here where it was for me. It was right here on the left, but again, it could be anywhere in this water, so search this water for your bone, and those are those locations. If your quote is where hidden burns, it will be over here in this path right below the ship in the fire or the left or right hand side. If you get one called where fire sinks, go ahead and shoot this little water pipe to put out the fire here. Come out to this back path and you're gonna find this little lantern. It'll be laying down right next to the lantern. So finishing off with the last few spawn points, if you get one called where crows roost, come to the front of the ship and you're gonna go right underneath the crow's nest on top of these barrels. If you get one where bounded slept, it's gonna be in either this cryotube containment area with the radio or the one over here sitting in one of these corners in the darkness. The next one is where falls freeze, so you're gonna come down to this icy cold water down here and it's gonna be laying in the trash somewhere on the sides. Whenever I had mine, it was in that corner there. So that is that spawn point, and making your way back up. Where preservation freezes is right over here in that life tube, just on that ice bridge looking out at the golden pack-a-punch machine. Where bread bakes is in here. That's a tongue twister. Is just going to be in this room in the cafeteria somewhere, so look around. It may be on a table. Not really sure, but the next one is where thirst dawns, and that is going to be right over here, and this is the thirst. That's the dawn, so it's going to be somewhere on the front part of the ship facing the sun. And then last but not least, where north is found, you're going to make your way all the way up to the captain's quarters where you turned on the power, and it's going to be sitting right on top of this little dial, so, or it just in this room somewhere. So that is all the locations of that. You have to do that 3 separate times, collect 3 separate bones, and then you're going to get another quote. And at this point, you need to be listening once again for the quote, because this is going to give you a last and final location, your 4th and final location that is not one of the ones that I just listed. So the Apothicon Blood will say one of 4 things, the first of which they could say is find a CO duality in the walls where ether was gathered, and that is that location right there in geological processing. They can also say find a CO duality where humans suffer, and that is this location right here in the prisoner type holding area. The next one up is find a CO duality where cages hang, and this is just in the boathouse right here, not to be confused with the one up top. That one is where cages hang in the boathouse, and the last of which is inside of an icy hall, and then this is this location right here. It's just basically different posters. There's the ice slide, this is the icy hall, and there it is, the different posters. So there are 4 different posters. Once you find your correct location, go ahead and knife the object that I tell you, and then you're gonna place your dynamite bomb on the safe behind the wall. This is, again, where you need the dynamite, so if you don't have the dynamite built, you have to go ahead and keep killing those red zombies until you get it, and then you can go ahead and grab that little vase-looking thing off the wall. You're gonna take it back to the Apothicon Blood, and it will start a mini boss fight here, where zombies will infinitely spawn. Do not try to get a zombie at the end of the round, because while you're doing this, the zombies will infinitely spawn, and you basically have to keep shooting the floating orb until you get a little flash of light and it goes back into its normal location. It'll stop flying around the room. Keep shooting it with weapons until it does this, because it's very easy to just get lost a little bit, but just keep shooting the orb that's flying around. It's very easy to do on the first one, especially if you have a pack-a-punch gun, etc. So just go ahead and shoot that orb down. It'll go back into its normal spot, and then around the map, 3 separate glowing orbs will spawn. You're gonna need snowballs and just any gun for this. So you're gonna hunt around the map. You're gonna look for these 3 separate orbs. Whenever you find find them. Don't get too close, because if you get too close, it's just going to run away, or if you shoot them, they're just going to run away. So keep your distance, throw a snowball, and then once it turns blue, then you go ahead and shoot them. There's usually 2 in the main area of the map, and there's 1 up in the research facility. So just chase them around, go look for them, try not to scare them away, try not to like run around corners. You can usually hear them when you're pretty close to them, which is nice. But shoot all 3, and once you have all 3 shot, go back to the main location where the Apothicon blood is. You're going to throw snowballs up at the floating orbs in the ceiling. These ones won't run away, so you don't have to worry about it. You do have to snowball it first and then shoot it again. They will be absorbed back into the lantern, and then you should be able to pick the lantern up. Now, pick the orb back up and then exit out the back side of this room where the fire used to be. If you don't know how to get the fire to go away, just shoot the watery pipe above where the fire is in that room, and it'll put the fire out. But go ahead and head out the back side. There will be a campfire there, and you can go ahead and place the lantern on top of the campfire, and then you need to throw a Samantha bomb right on top of the campfire. And if done correctly, all of the zombies will despawn, and it will end the infinite round, and you will get a blue glowing campfire. And then you will start hearing a little story that you cannot skip. It's kind of long, but you have to listen to this a few different times. So go ahead and listen all the way through the story, and then at the very end, it should let you pick the lantern back up. The zombies will start spawning again, and the campfire will turn back red. So go ahead and pick that up, and then you are on to the next step. So once you picked it up from the campfire, head over to the hermit and pick up these 2 soapstones that he drops down after he talks to you. He says, these will be useful for the next step, and sure enough, they will be. You're going to head back to the back side of the lighthouse, just down by where this lighthouse trap is. You're going to place the 2 soapstones on the ground where those little scorch marks are. It actually looks perfectly placed so that you can just put them down perfectly right there, which you can. You're going to place them down, you're going to turn on that lighthouse trap, and then you're going to be able to pick them back up, now on fire and flaming and super heated up. So go ahead and pick those up off the ground, and you're going to take them over and place one of them in this facility. It'll only let you place one of them. It'll say that you can't place the other one down in the other slot, and you need to take the other one to the upstairs area of that facility and place it in this little shower trap, which is actually just a super chilled ice trap. Now make sure you only place one down, because one has to be hot, one has to be cold. If you accidentally cool both of them down using the ice trap, you have to take one of them back up to the other area, heat it back up again. It's just a whole extra process. So make sure you're only cooling the second one down, and once you place both of them down, you should be able to grab that fuse out of there. So once you grab the fuse out of there, you have a super cooled one and a super heated one in there. You grab the fuse, take it over to the lighthouse station, and it will say that you need more power to actually open up the door. So ride the zip line back up, and at this point you need the Wonder Waff, so either get it out of the box or do the free Wonder Waff Easter egg, either one, and you're going to shoot that little transformer, which is going to electrocute the entire path down to the lighthouse. So go ahead and shoot that one, and then you need to shoot this other one on the other side, and Nikolai will say, hooray, partial charge, and now you need to go on to the next step, which is getting 3 separate electric zombies to die in 3 separate spots. So from here, you need to go ahead and kill 3 separate electric zombies next to these 3 electric pylons, and they have to be killed pretty darn close to the pylons. So I just kind of put my butt in the corner, sat next to here, and just killed as quickly as I could. And as you can see, I killed an electric zombie right next to the pylon, and this is what it looks like when it actually works. The electricity will be sparking from that little pylon that is kind of sitting outside zombie bounds. And the second one is just down right here. This is behind the MX9 wall by, again, same exact thing. Wait till an electric zombie gets close enough, shoot it, blow it up, and it will actually catch that on electricity again. And then the third and final one is actually right next to where we just used the lighthouse trap. Again, just use your specialist, use whatever you have to do, kill an electric zombie close to it, and that is the third and final one that has now been electrified. And now you are ready to go ahead and get the elemental shard out of that bunker when Nikolai says, hey, you did it, success, you have enough power, grab the elemental shard. So you grab it, and then you take it back over to the Apothicon blood. Now the Apothicon blood once again will accept it, and it will start another mini boss fight where it's just an unlimited round of zombies. And I actually recommend just running away from this location, because now the Apothicon little blood orb thing has a lot more health than last time. So I recommend just running all the zombies as far away as you can, and then just really laying into it with whatever weapons you can. And I kind of ran all the zombies away as far as I could, and then just laid into it with as much damage as I could. And then once you do enough damage to it, it will stop floating around and trying to dodge you, and it will do a big white flash, and all of the the zombies will reset to normal. So go ahead. At this point, you have to chase down 3 more orbs around the map. I'm not going to show it again because it's literally the exact same step as we did earlier. So chase those 3 orbs around the map, snowball them. It will send them back to the Apothicon Blood area. Snowball them again, shoot them again, and then once all 3 of the orbs are reabsorbed back into the Apothicon little blood vial thing, whatever vase thing we're using, it's gonna basically allow you to pick it back up. You pick it back up, you put it back on the campfire, throw another Samantha right on top of it, and it will be story time once again. So sit here, listen to it until the fire turns back to red, the zombies start spawning again, and then you can pick the Apothicon device back up off of the campfire, and you're on to the next step. The next step is going to be a lockdown in the Hermit's area. It's going to require all players to start. You're going to give him the Seal of Duality, and he is going to do some stuff to it. But do not start the step until you have all of your guns Pack-a-Punch to the level you want them Pack-a-Punch for the rest of the Easter egg. Because after this step, you are no longer able to use any of the Pack-a-Punch machines because they're all going to be drained of all their power. So Pack-a-Punch your weapons. You're still going to be able to buy perks. You're still going to be able to get shields, etc. But get your guns Pack-a-Punch to the level you want them to before you start the step. Get all your players here, and then go ahead and start the lockdown. It will be just pretty much a normal lockdown, and as soon as it's done, he will drop the seal back down and says it requires more power. So you're going to go ahead and take the seal to each one of the Pack-a-Punch machines in the order that the lighthouse shines on them. You're going to Pack-a-Punch the Agarthan device, and it's going to become a soul box. You're going to just basically fill it up until it stops. You're going to grab it back out. You're going to take it to the next location, and you're going to repeat this with all 4 of the locations inside of the map, just all 4 of the normal Pack-a-Punch locations. Just use the lighthouse as your guide, and again, just try to survive. It's not a big rush. There's no timer on it. You can, like, they don't attack it or anything like that. Take your time. It does get a little crazy, especially on later rounds, and definitely feel free to use your gobblegums, etc. And just keep on going until you have all of them done. So once the last one is done, once the one by the lighthouse has been finished, it will basically come back out of there and say, okay, that should be enough power. You should get a quote like that, etc. This is always the last one. That seems to have been enough, Marlton says. And then you need to take it back over to the Apothicons, and you need to do one last mini boss fight here. Now, this one is probably the hardest one. It's not probably, it is the hardest one. It has the most health. So once again, I recommend leading all the zombies away, as it is an infinite round. Lead them away as far as you can, like I did here. Jump back in, and then just start shooting at this thing. Now, instead of the orbs flying out of it as they normally do, where they just kind of go through walls and stuff, it'll actually be spitting out orbs in this room. And then again, once you're done, it will be a big flash of light, and it will basically stop the infinite zombie spawns, and it'll go back to just being a normal round, and it'll be basically sitting here normally. So snowball all 3 of the orbs in the ceiling. You don't have to chase them around the map this time, thank goodness. You just have to snowball them in the ceiling. Go ahead, get them into the Agarthan device, and the duality will be restored. You can put it back on the campfire, and for one last time, we listen to the characters talk. So throw another Samantha device on it, and just go ahead and listen to the conversation, and we are on to the final steps. So again, pick the lantern back up. You're going to go ahead, and once you're ready to boss fight, again, now you need to get fresh shields, all your perks, everything you want to get, fresh ammo, everything like that. You're going to go ahead and make your way to the flinger that takes you over to the golden Pack-a-Punch, and then you're going to golden Pack-a-Punch the Agarthan device. Now, one last soul box here. You're going to fill it up with enough souls that it's going to go ahead and spit back out, and then once you do that, hold square on it, and it will start this little cutscene in which it turns the entire map into this weird 115 infested terrible place to be, which is actually one of the coolest visuals I've ever seen in zombies. So that's big kudos to Treyarch there. So basically, it will create a dome of safety around the Agarthan device, and as you can see, if you get out of it, it will start hurting you. It teaches you that by letting you stay out of it for a few seconds and then flinging you across. So basically, this is just survival. It's not a soul box or anything like that. You have to survive until it meets one of its rest stops. I believe there's 3 rest stops on the journey that it takes, and you basically just have to stay alive until it makes its way to a spot and then stops to become a soul box. So you fill up the soul box, and it will continue on. It will keep on going all the way up to the top of the lighthouse. It will go across the way, and you do actually need to zip line across from it and kind of time your zip line so you don't stay out of its safety for super long. But you're going to go ahead and zip line across, take it across, and then you're going to basically just follow it all the way down to the main facility of where we did all of these steps earlier, and then just survive there. The circle will get smaller and smaller and smaller. It'll become a soul box, and then at the very end, it will basically kill all of the zombies, and then you don't have to worry about zombies for the rest of the time. So if you made it this far, congratulations. The Easter egg is basically over. You don't have to actually worry about surviving anymore. It is pretty darn hard. I definitely recommend using gobble gums and stuff like that. But once you have survived all of that, take the Agarthan device back over to Pablo the Hermit in the tower. There will be a little cutscene that plays once you make your way to the boat, so go ahead and go over to the boat. You'll see some crazy stuff happening with the lighthouse, and then last but not least, you just need to make your way to the very end of the boat at the forecastle, and sure enough, it will end the Easter egg. Once you hold square, you'll get the cutscene, and hopefully you won't crash like I did. If you want to see my reaction to everything my first time doing the boss fight, I will leave that down below in the description. But that is it. That is the cutscene. That is the Easter egg achievement done, and I hope you guys did enjoy this tutorial. If you did, all I ask is that you leave a like, subscribe. I'll see y'all in the next one. I hope y'all enjoyed. Peace out, everyone. Bye-bye.